In bad weather, 15 minutes before landing. Dan Rather will have more next.
See you tonight.
With election returns in a Campaign 92 special report from CBS News. Headline of the hour, a good night for Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton and for President George Bush in the presidential primaries. The polls are now closed in all 4 of tonight's presidential primary states, including the contest that has the largest number of delegates in New York. Let's look them over, starting with the Democrats. In New York, Governor Bill Clinton has won the New York primary, and it's a rather comfortable win for Clinton, although not overwhelming. Brown and Tsongas are in a very close race for second place in New York. In Kansas, Clinton an easy winner in the Kansas Democratic primary. In Wisconsin, close between Clinton and Brown for first place. We'll have more on that later. Tsongas third. Among the Republicans, President Bush has scored in Wisconsin, Kansas, Minnesota, and New York, where he was basically unopposed. Now, we'll be back with a special half-hour wrap-up right after your late local news. I'm Dan Rather. This is a special Western edition of the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting live from CBS News headquarters in New York. Good evening. Welcome back. As perhaps you've just heard, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton wins the big, important New York Democratic presidential primary, making him look more and more like the Democratic presidential nominee for 1992. The election polls are now closed in all 4 of tonight's primary states. Here in New York, correspondent Richard Threlkeld is tracking the Democrats tonight. Who's hot, who's not, and why? Richard?
Dan, New York was the roughest, toughest primary yet, and tonight, Bill Clinton can claim to have survived it.
Clinton will attend a victory party in New York tonight. Our exit poll of New York primary voters showed one key to his victory was that he did well among those voters over 60, an age group which votes most consistently. Clinton also got more of the late deciders. 1/3 said they made up their minds on the candidate in the last 4 days. Paul Tsongas, who had dropped out of the race but whose name was still on the ballot, owed his big showing to the same voters who'd supported him in other primaries. He did well in the suburbs and among higher-income voters. Tonight, Tsongas is mulling over whether to get back into the race.
I mean, it's really a matter of not only how I do. I knew that we would do well, but how the others did.
Jerry Brown had hoped to do better by courting the black vote, an effort that caused some controversy today when Clinton attacked Brown for this pamphlet comparing South Africa to Clinton's home state of Arkansas, which has no state civil rights law.
Jerry Brown compared my state to South Africa in an 11th hour mailing to the black community. One of the more gutless things I've ever seen a politician do, and I think that's something he'll have to answer for.
Brown's promise to name Jesse Jackson his vice president allowed him to cut deeply into Clinton's strength among black voters. But at a cost, Clinton and Tsongas won the vast majority of the important Jewish vote here. As the vote for Tsongas indicated, neither Clinton nor Brown was all that popular with New York voters. 2/3 of our sample said they're not satisfied with the choice.
It wasn't even until the last 10 minutes I decided who I was going to vote for.
Basically, I flipped a coin.
Tomorrow, Paul Tsongas, Dan, will announce whether he's getting back in the race. He may do that. Jerry Brown certainly has shown that he can run for president on a shoestring. Perhaps Paul Tsongas can, too. We'll see. Dan?
Richard Threlkeld, thanks. Underscoring that Governor Clinton has won the Kansas presidential primary. He and Jerry Brown are locked in a close race in Wisconsin, also a close race in Minnesota. While President Bush did well in tonight's primaries, he has had some political trouble closer to home. White House correspondent Susan Spencer tells us more about that.
While the Democrats devour one another, President Bush coasts above it all, making speeches about reform to sometimes bored audiences, seemingly content.
Some people think I've been traveling a little too much. So today is an example of my new policy. No trips further than 1 block away from the White House.
Trips may have been on his mind. Today, the General Accounting Office reported that in the first 2 years of the Bush administration, cabinet officers racked up more than $750,000 taxpayer dollars in travel expenses, for which they have reimbursed the government a paltry $61,000. GAO finds nothing illegal, but reimbursement is set at coach fare plus $1, and travel on military aircraft costs a lot more than that.
This is outrageous. That for the price of a commercial ticket, you would get the use of an entire aircraft.
The frequent flyer trips of former Chief of Staff John Sununu also came back to haunt the executive mansion today. After a scathing report from the Office of Government Ethics, Sununu was ordered to repay some $4,000. Reimbursements for personal trips he took at taxpayer expense, including 2 to Colorado ski resorts. Governor Sununu had no comment. The White House admitted no mistakes on his part and said the matter is closed. But not for Congress. With its own perks under fire, Congress is still trying, in vain, to determine just how much Mr. Bush's trips cost each year. Sensing a potential public relations problem here, administration officials have agreed, reluctantly, to testify about that later this week. Susan Spencer, CBS News, the White House.
One other political note, CBS News has been told that first-term Democratic Senator Tim Wirth of Colorado will not run for re-election this year. That makes Wirth the 4th senator to announce his retirement in recent days. We have another breaking story tonight from the Middle East, the facts about which are unclear. No confirmation yet, but Libya says officially a plane carrying Yasser Arafat, longtime leader of the Palestine Liberation Organization, has disappeared in bad weather over the Libyan desert. PLO sources in Tunis acknowledge Arafat's plane vanished near the town of Sara. Arafat was to visit a PLO base there. Arafat was flying from Khartoum, capital of Sudan. Again, this has not been confirmed, but Libya is saying a plane carrying PLO chief Yasser Arafat from Sudan has vanished over the Libyan desert. In other news today, it was powerful enough to register as a moderate earthquake. A thunderous explosion of a gas pipeline in eastern central Texas killed at least one person and left cattle dead in their tracks. James Satori reports from Brenham, Texas.
A pipeline valve continued to burn this afternoon, marking ground zero of an explosion which turned acres of lush southeast Texas farmland into scorched earth.
And now there's nothing. It's just like somebody had dropped a bomb. The back of our house is gone.
I noticed a strange fog through the valley. And the next thing I knew, it was just a tremendous bang. It threw me across the track. I thought my truck had blown up.
Dozens of houses were destroyed or damaged. The blast was so strong it was felt in Houston, 85 miles away, and registered a 4 on the Richter scale.
It's total chaos. I mean, there's people coming out of the houses. They didn't know what hit them. And there's 2 people in a car down here with a little kid on the road that just flattened their car.
Officials are still investigating, but the explosion apparently occurred along a pipeline carrying natural gas liquids near an underground salt dome used for gas storage. One of the residents here injured this morning reportedly said he was warned by a utility crew that a pipeline in the area was leaking. He said he smelled gas in the morning fog, and then everything exploded.
A light bulb could have sent it off, or some ignition source set it off, but there was apparently a heavy gas leak, and the rest you see yourself.
And what's now apparent to residents here is the real danger buried beneath their homes. James Satori, CBS News, Brenham, Texas.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, Russia and Ukraine make the same claim, command of the powerful Black Sea Fleet. And in Los Angeles, the gang wars rob a mother of another son.
What entrepreneurs do is they find an idea and then they risk everything every day.
We design contemporary fashions from traditional African fabrics. We're based in Oakland, but we do a lot of business with LA and Seattle.
What I recommended for her was the AT&T Small Business Option Area Code Plan, which gives them an automatic 10% discount for 1 or 2 area codes that they call most. Every customer has a goal. What we want to do is help them to achieve that goal.
We can make a difference. AT&T. Call us. In medical tests, people fell asleep faster and slept better with Unisom than without. Unisom for faster, better sleep.
I try to ignore my sensitive teeth, but they hurt.
Don't ignore your sensitive teeth. Sensodyne helps stop the pain that can make you stop brushing. Could lead even to tooth loss.
Thanks, Sensodyne.
Sensodyne helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
President Boris Yeltsin went before the Russian Congress today to take the heat in person for his economic reforms. Yeltsin also admitted that he's worried about an escalating power struggle with rival Ukraine. as correspondent Anthony Mason reports from Moscow.
Who controls the 300 ships of the old Soviet Navy's Black Sea Fleet tonight? Ukraine, says President Leonid Kravchuk. Russia, says President Boris Yeltsin. In the past 24 hours, the two leaders have issued contradictory decrees, each formally claiming the nuclear-capable fleet as their own, and renewing a feud that has repeatedly threatened to cripple the Commonwealth. Deputies in the Russian Congress meeting in Moscow today were indignant at Ukraine's claim. In the history of the fleet, said Vice President Rutskoy, the Ukrainian flag has never flown over its ships.
The fleet on the Black Sea is a typical Russian fleet. I'm afraid that Russia now have a quite narrow range of possible reactions.
So tonight, Yeltsin issued his own decree. The dispute between the two stubborn leaders has become increasingly bitter. At the Commonwealth Summit in Kiev last month, Kravchuk was made to wait as Yeltsin strolled in defiantly late. But outside that meeting, thousands rallied in support of Kravchuk.
Ukraine is a free country. It will never more be part of any other country.
And Ukraine defiantly has begun forming its own army, has claimed jurisdiction over nuclear weapons on its soil, and says a fleet anchored in Ukrainian waters should be Ukrainian. But the Crimea, the region where the fleet is stationed, was only ceded to Ukraine in 1954. Tonight, Commonwealth Television reported a poll of Crimean residents showing that 69% would rather be part of Russia. Both sides called for immediate negotiations, but they haven't been very good at talking. Since December, 4 Commonwealth summits have failed to resolve the dispute, said the Russian vice president. This is all about emotions. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Moscow.
A public warning today to Ukraine from Secretary of State Baker. Baker indicated U.S. aid could be cut unless Ukraine honors an agreement to ship its tactical nuclear weapons to Russia for dismantling. The U.S. military today downgraded the success rate of the Patriot missile in the Gulf War, but congressional investigators say the claims are still much too high. The Army now says Patriots brought down only about 70% of Iraqi Scuds fired at Saudi Arabia and only about 40% of those fired at Israel. The 1992 Pulitzer Prizes were announced today. Among the winners, Jane Smiley for the novel A Thousand Acres. For general nonfiction, the winner is Daniel Yergin for, quote, The Prize, the epic quest for oil, money, and power. And a special Pulitzer was awarded to Art Spiegelman for a cartoon book depiction of the Nazi Holocaust called Maus, M-A-U-S. Thomas Fleming picked up his award at the White House today, a crystal apple presented to America's Teacher of the Year. At age 17, Fleming was a Detroit high school dropout who couldn't read. Now he has a master's degree and teaches at a juvenile detention center in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Stay here with us now for more CBS News, including new treatment for a disease that ruins a lot of vacations.
The fox and the grapes. There are rewards to be had, yet they are not always within easy reach of investors. With Merrill Lynch mutual funds, the potential need not elude you. We search high and low for opportunities, but let us remind you, sometimes to reap rewards, you have to wait till they're fully ripe. The moral is, patience is a sound investment principle as well as a virtue.
They say our personality traits are formed at an early age. Presenting the 3.1-liter V6 Rodeo from Isuzu. The way we see it, it's never too late to have a happy childhood.
Red Lobster may have gone too far this time. A full pound of tempting shrimp overflowing your plate. Red Lobster's never offered you, so much on one plate. 10 grilled shrimp, 15 butterfly, 11 scampi. A full pound of our biggest and best shrimp for a limited time. So much shrimp with all the extras, including a doggy bag.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
He heard voices that made him kill their daughter. He says he's all better. Would you let him go free? 48 hours, Wednesday.
A United Nations report today brands it the world's #1 public health enemy. It is heart disease, and it now accounts for 1 out of every 4 deaths worldwide. That's 12 million a year. The UN says as many as half those deaths could be prevented by healthier living, including more exercise and better eating. There's word tonight of a new treatment for one of the most common and annoying medical problems for travelers abroad and for other people. CBS News health correspondent Edie Magnus has the details.
Along with the ecstasy of a vacation in some exotic place, there's the agony of those not-so-precious moments that you might spend you know where.
When Montezuma's revenge hits, it's like debilitating, and so you end up spending a lot more time around the hotel room worrying about whether it's going to get better and you're going to be able to get on with your vacation. Basically, it was kind of horrible.
I'd be reluctant to go to Mexico or Europe because of the problem of possibly getting diarrhea.
Today, researchers announced they found a safe, effective treatment for travelers' diarrhea, an antibiotic called aztreonam. Currently available as an intravenous treatment for infections, aztreonam was given in pill form to people in Mexico who were suffering from bacterial diarrhea.
Their diarrhea, when they took the antibiotic, was lessened by well over 50%, showing us that it worked very well to relieve the symptoms.
Doctors are particularly encouraged that aztreonam produced no serious side effects commonly associated with other prescription diarrhea drugs.
You could use it in children where we don't have a good antibiotic to use, and we predict you can use it in pregnant women where there also is not a good antibiotic to use.
There are over-the-counter remedies for bacterial diarrhea, but experts say they mainly treat symptoms like cramping or nausea, whereas aztreonam kills the germ that causes diarrhea. Oddly enough, the drug's maker, Bristol-Myers Squibb, said tonight they have no immediate plans to get approval to market aztreonam in an oral form for diarrhea. The company said it's not sure about the size of the market and would like more studies to confirm this one. Dan?
So, an oral form could be coming later. Edie Magnus, thanks. Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Eye on America. Tonight, all the fixins for a food fight. Ketchup against salsa.
The best drivers. The best mechanics. The best machines. You won't find ordinary tools here. You will find Craftsman tools, 1600 hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever. If you're going to run with the best, you'd better have nerves of steel. And tools that say Craftsman.
What does this woman know about dieting that maybe you don't? That you don't have to drink your breakfast, because a serving of Kellogg's Special K actually has fewer calories than a glass of the leading diet shake. In fact, the entire Special K breakfast, including fruit, skim milk, and coffee, has fewer calories than the diet shake. So, if you're going to have something special when you're trying to lose weight, shouldn't it be something special with fewer calories? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
Grandma's got a date. What's a date?
Closeness. You might hesitate if you wore a diaper. So Johnson & Johnson created Serenity Guards. Bladder control protection so advanced, it holds as much as something 5 times its size and stays dry, locking liquid in. And now there's a new Serenity Guard, Super Plus, with even more super absorbance. So if you've been looking for extra protection, give yourself hugs for discovering new Serenity Super Plus.
I'm Harry Smith.
I'm Paula Zahn. You still have time to get an IRA before you file your taxes, but should you?
We'll give you the pros and cons tomorrow on CBS This Morning, breakfast for your head.
Gang wars are on the increase, and they are wars without end. For example, Lorna Hawkins has no more sons left to lose to the deadly gang violence of Los Angeles. She buried her second son today. Ron Allen tells us how a mother's outrage is giving way to despair.
This solemn ritual is painfully familiar to Lorna Hawkins, the lonely journey to bury a son. 21-year-old Joe was killed in a drive-by shooting 4 years ago. Today, Hawkins said goodbye to her last son, Gerald, aged 20, another innocent victim of gang violence.
It hurts so bad. Nobody really knows except mothers
who've lost their kids. I've known and I've talked to more mothers than I care to who have lost 2 and 3 kids. So I'm not alone.
After gang members killed her first son, Hawkins started a local cable TV program. Drive-By Agony has become a crusade, a mix of therapy and outrage to raise awareness that gang violence kills innocent people too.
He was just an average kid. And unfortunately, he was what they tell me at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I've already started fighting because my first son was dead, and I'm going to fight for something else. And I'm tired. I mean, I have no more sons, so, you know, they can't come and get any more from me.
Police never caught the gang members who killed her first son, but this time there are witnesses who saw Gerald get shot in the back. And there may be an arrest soon if those witnesses are willing to come forward. Today, inside the church, mourners shared Hawkins' message that the violence must stop.
The young brothers and sisters, we must change, we must have peace in our community.
But as Hawkins buried her last son, she couldn't help but wonder if anyone has been listening. Ron Allen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Hello. I'd like to talk to you about an invisible problem. The invisible bacteria that cause nasty denture odor. Fortunately, antibacterial Effident not only cleans the stains you can see, it kills the odor-causing bacteria you can't for clean, fresh dentures. So while the problem may be invisible, the solution is clearly evident. Darling, we're on TV.
Antibacterial Effident. Cleans what you can see and what you can't.
You could ease up a little.
Table for two in about 5 minutes. Mr. Douglas, I have your table.
But you're not gonna. You could stop being a perfectionist. But you're not gonna. You're not gonna change because of heartburn, and you don't have to. There's something new that's like no ordinary antacid. New Maalox Heartburn Relief. It stops the burning and helps keep it from coming back. So get on with life like you're gonna live it. New Maalox Heartburn Relief is made for you.
This is regular. This is better. This Bufferin is regular. For headaches, Anacin is better. Why better? Regular Bufferin has one ingredient. Anacin has two, a pain medicine plus a second ingredient that makes it work better. Get Anacin. Get better.
Bad allergies?
Terrible. I need my Benadryl.
Dristan allergy has a decongestant. This Benadryl doesn't.
Well, then I definitely would try that. I feel fantastic. I can breathe through my nose. I don't need a tissue anymore.
New Dristan Allergy, the face of relief today.
The Isuzu Trooper
Right on time.
has been thoughtfully redesigned to include a new suspension system,
Honey, pothole.
I see it.
giving it an incredibly smooth, quiet ride on the road as well as off. Of course, these days, what's the difference?
Well, the battle lines are drawn. Rarely have Americans had such a clear-cut choice. One side appealing to traditional tastes, the other offering fundamental change. Mark Phillips reports tonight's Eye on America, the making of a condiment, 1992.
Like so many soldiers, loaded and primed, they've been forming ranks and heading off to America's great food fight, the condiment conflict of our time. King Ketchup versus Saucy Salsa. And in this bottled battle by the Goliaths of Goop, a new champion has emerged. Last year, Americans spent more on salsa, $40 million more, than they did on ketchup. It may have something to do with the wow factor.
They will come in and they want food that just gives them a wow in their mouth. And I think Mexican food has, very much done that.
But the sounds of this food fray are not just the strumming of Mexican guitars and munching of tacos. It's the sound of a revolution in American eating habits.
It tasted good and it was exciting. The other side is that it was manifestly better for you.
For some time now, America has been looking for a different way to eat. Products being sold for what's not in them rather than what is. Marketing by subtraction, the food industry calls it.
So we're going to kind of throw the salt out today.
These people spent almost $500 each for a weekend course in how not to cook.
So we're not going to use any butter in cooking today.
But if you take all the old fat and salt tastes out, what do you put in?
We're also going to use some fresh ginger today.
Exotic ethnic eating fads riding the wave of food fear have been rolling across the country. Remember Sichuan Chinese in the 70s? Blackened everything Louisiana Cajun in the 80s.
You had the blackened chicken fettuccine.
Yet all the while, the biggest revolution so far was being stirred up in places like Maria Trevina's restaurant in the Southwest.
If there's an original home, a mother lode, if you will, of Mexican cooking, it's here in the Tex-Mex kitchens of San Antonio. It's been living here in splendid regional isolation for generations. Somehow, though, and more so lately, it's gotten out of Maria Trevina's kitchen, out of town, and out of Texas. And into trendy eateries all over the country, and not just here with the Power Lunch Set. Have you checked your local supermarket lately?
Today we see a whole wall full of salsas and picante sauce and Mexican products.
The salsa market has been growing at 20% a year, a previously unheard of rate for the food business.
Ethnic really has gone mainstream.
Welcome to McDonald's.
Mainstream, into the home of the ketchup-covered hamburger.
99-cent chicken fajitas.
Mainstream,
Salsa with rice.
the latest product line from the Campbell Soup Company, who've come a long way from cream of mushroom.
The best.
You just pop the dinners in the oven.
Just for the record, this is what frozen dinners used to look like.
Big, tender slices of Swanson turkey with brown gravy.
What happened?
The huge bulge in the population who turned 40 about 5 years ago now are approaching that big 5-0. They're very much conscious of the fact that they're not omnipotent and that they're mortal.
Food as a health insurance policy. Food without fear.
And when you're tired of caviar and grouse...
Unless, like some, you're afraid a diet based on salsa's potent peppers will blow your taste buds away for life.
If one is used to eating that very hot food, I think your palate is mostly gone.
It's just overload, palate overload.
I would think so, or palate death.
Don't tell that, though, to the great chefs of San Antonio, who now get calls for advice from around the country.
You got to come back home to taste the real stuff.
How is it different?
I think it's the pots and pans that we use.
Salsa, the new spice of life. In San Antonio, I'm Mark Phillips for Eye on America.
How about that?
Updating tonight's two late-breaking stories in tomorrow's headlines. PLO leader Yasser Arafat's plane is missing. Libya says officially Arafat's plane disappeared in the Libyan desert. And the still unfolding political story here at home, a good night for Democrat Bill Clinton, the governor of Arkansas, in tonight's 4 presidential primary states, New York, Wisconsin, Kansas, and Minnesota. He may not have won them all. He did win the big one, New York. On the Republican side, the Bush-Quayle ticket wins everywhere tonight. In effect, it had no real opposition, but there is another sizable Republican primary protest vote. We'll wrap up all the primary results in a CBS News special immediately after your late local news tonight. Dan Rather, I'll see you again soon.
Government files long-kept secrets.